My dad said he'd skip my wedding if I didn't invite my sister, who slept with my ex, so I replaced him and watched his world quietly unravel. 3 years ago, I came home early from work to grab my laptop. The house was quiet, too quiet. I walked upstairs and found my boyfriend's jacket on the hallway floor outside my sister Mary's bedroom. I opened the door. They were in her bed together, 2 empty wine bottles on the nightstand. I screamed, threw pillows at them. My boyfriend stammered about being drunk, about it being a mistake. Mary didn't even apologize. She told me to get out of her room so she could get dressed. When I told Dad, he was shocked for about 5 minutes. Then he said they were both adults and I should have been more careful about who I brought around the family, like it was my fault. I cut them both off completely, blocked Mary, broke up with my boyfriend, went no contact with Dad for 2 years. Then earlier this year, Dad had a stroke. He needed round-the-clock care and his insurance barely covered anything. Mary couldn't help. She's never held a steady job and lives with Dad rent-free at 32. I stepped up, paid $18,000 in medical bills, hired a full-time caretaker, made sure he had everything he needed. That's when he finally apologized, told me he'd been wrong about everything, that he finally saw how much I'd sacrificed while Mary did nothing. So when I got engaged to Zach, I invited Dad to the wedding. It felt like we were healing. Then he started pushing me to invite Mary. She's changed, he insisted. This is your chance to rebuild as a family. I asked him point blank, if she's changed so much, why hasn't she reached out to apologize even once in 3 years? He doubled down, said I needed to let bygones be bygones and stop being petty. That my wedding was the perfect opportunity for a fresh start. I refused. Told him until Mary apologized, she had no place at my wedding. Dad's response was ice cold. If Mary's not invited, I'm not coming either. And I won't walk you down the aisle. People will talk. It'll look bad for you. I realized this was just another manipulation tactic. Another way to control me and force me to bend to what he wanted. So I uninvited him entirely. Called my grandfather and asked if he'd walk me down the aisle instead. Grandpa didn't hesitate. I'd be honored, sweetheart. Your father's been a fool for far too long. My wedding day was beautiful. Grandpa walked me down the aisle with tears in his eyes. During the reception, he stood up and made an announcement that stunned everyone. He was giving me and Zach his vacation house in Lake Tahoe as a wedding gift. The 4-bedroom cabin Dad had always assumed he'd inherit someday. Grandpa said, out of my 2 granddaughters, you're the one who understands the value of family and memories. I know you'll cherish this place the way I have. I was overwhelmed. I hugged him and cried. 2 days later, Dad called me absolutely furious. Said I'd manipulated Grandpa into giving me the house. That as his only child, he had a legal right to inherit it. That I'd betrayed the family. Mary sent me paragraph after paragraph calling me a thief, saying I stole what belonged to Dad. Yesterday, Dad showed up at my door unannounced. He looked smaller somehow. Tired. We need to talk, he said. I let him in. He immediately launched into demands about the house, saying I needed to give it back to him, that Grandpa didn't understand what he was doing. I cut him off. Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve this? He went quiet. Then it all came out. He never wanted a second child. When Mom got pregnant with me, doctors warned her about the risks. Dad begged her to abort. She refused. When she died giving birth to me, he blamed me for taking her away. He wished I'd never been born. He said it only got worse as I grew up because I looked exactly like her. Every time he saw my face, he was reminded of what he'd lost. Mary was easier, he admitted. She never reminded me of your mother. She never made me face my grief. Then he said the wedding was supposed to fix everything. Show up as a united family. Prove we'd moved past it all. But you ruined it by shutting me out. Asking Grandpa to walk you down the aisle was the ultimate betrayal. I stared at him. So, after everything you've put me through, I'm still the villain in your story? He tried to backtrack, said he was sorry, that he needed me because I was the only one he could trust to take care of him when he got sick again. I laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. You should have thought about that before you chose Mary over me at every single turn. Don't call me when you're in the hospital. Call your precious daughter who can't even pay her own rent. Then I opened the door and told him to leave. He's been texting me nonstop since then. Apologies, guilt trips, promises to change. I blocked his number this morning. The vacation house is mine, and I'm finally free.